We were enjoying ourselves Friday evening with grandchildren. Had a real good time visiting, and we always enjoy visiting with our grandchildren and having them bring us up to speed on their lives and their school and how things are going with them.
And they were amazed that I could fry chicken as well as KFC could.
Yes, and we had a good meal and a good visit and watched at least one movie and just had a great time with our grandchildren.
We have a habit that if either of us have a problem resting, that we'll ask the other one to pray. And I did have a headache that night that I've never had before. So I asked Philip to please pray for me so I could get some rest.
The next morning, she still had the headache. She got up to move around and she took a shower but she went back to bed and laid down, but was not really sleeping. My daughter came to go to a baby shower with Shirley, and Shirley didn't feel like going. And during this time with my daughter, Shirley started throwing up and losing her ability to speak coherently and couldn't make sense of it. So we made arrangements to take her to emergency room. They ran 2 CT scans and 2 MRIs. They decided to do a chemical stress test. They elected to do a heart cath the next day, and during the heart cath they found a 99% blockage in an artery in the heart. The doctor had talked with me and my 2 children about how he was a man of faith and he knew that God was in control, and he did trust in God on other things, on further things and what he could take care of. But as a physician, was he afraid of this for this patient? And he said, yes, I am, and I'm afraid of her on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm afraid of her at a 10. She lost her ability to speak coherently and talk in a sentence that could be understood. And she was losing the mobility of her right hand and arm. And I asked her if she could write down what she needed, and she did say yes. I gave her a pencil and paper, and she just scribbled like a small child would. And she was, whenever she would try to speak, she was frustrated because she was wanting to say things, but she couldn't. And it was frustrating her really bad. And when she became frustrated and cried, I would start to lose it. I was going home. I started having thoughts about what I'm going to have to do concerning bills and things that she would take care of. I was going to have to find passwords and codes and times to make payments and what payments, and that was starting to go through my head that it was going to be a very difficult time because she would not be able to help me in the condition she was in. I was thinking also about her remodeling that she had done to the house. We had just had some major remodeling done, and she was very proud of the kitchen and all the additions that was done and the opening up of the rooms and new carpets and everything that was involved. And she was looking forward to spending a lot of time in the kitchen and doing things in the house. And I was just wondering, was she going to be able to enjoy that again, or where were we going to be there? And it was not a very good night at all for me. I laid in bed and I cried and I prayed and I asked God to be merciful on her and to give her back to me so we could still work as a team and love and travel and do things together. And it was just not a good night for me that night.
I've got the joy, 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 joy.
The next morning, I had to do a couple of errands before I could go back to the hospital. And when I did get to the hospital, as I was approaching the room, I heard Shirley talking, and I was baffled because this was not the condition that she was in last night when I left the hospital. And I was thrilled, but I was bewildered. So as I came to the door of the room, I could see that Shirley was talking to Chris Rathbone, and I was very pleased and overcome with joy. And she recognized me and called me by name, told me she loved me, and started talking with me in a coherent type of attitude. And I was just overcome with joy that somewhere from the time I left her that night till the time I saw her that morning, God had turned things around and done what He does best, and that's healed her. We know Shirley was healed because of prayer. There was prayers that were coming from friends in Colorado, friends that were overseas, and our friends that were just around telling us that they were praying for her. And our church family was just really supportive of everything that happened.
Philip, the best thing that I can say and relate this to is that God has always been a very important part of our life, and prayer has always been necessary. And with people that are going through things, they just need to share their problems with their church family and friends. And together, we could all take them to God, and He'll answer our prayer. Because I wouldn't want to take a breath if I didn't have Him with me. I don't know what else to say, Chris.